Welcome back to Detroit's Morning Answer with John Anthony. David W., we got our sweatshirts and mugs. Thank you so much for the sweet and kind gift that you got myself and Paul. Paul wants to say thank you as well, David. I've had a lot of guests on this show about AI, but I think this next guest, I think we're taking a different approach because, every few generations, there's a technology that arrives that changes not just how we work, but who we are. Artificial intelligence is one of those kinds of disruptions. It's eliminating jobs by the millions. Yet, it's creating millionaires faster than any other innovation in history. My guest today, Erik Weir, has helped guide some of America's most successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and entertainers through seasons of change. He's the author of Who's Eating Your Pie?, a book about taking back control of your financial life. And today we're going to talk about how to not only survive this new AI economy, but how do you thrive in it? Erik, welcome to Detroit's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. I've been looking forward to talking to you all day.
Oh, yes, same here. Now, Erik, you've witnessed several economic revolutions, right? From the internet to crypto. I mean, we walk with a computer in our pockets now. How is this AI shift fundamentally different?
It's going to be so much faster. I remember in the late 90s, watching Good Morning America, they're talking like, what does .com mean? What is this your cell phone? And it was just amazing the changes happened where the cell phone's everything. It's your Rolodex I used to have. It's your camera, it's your video recorder, it's everything. And AI is going to accelerate that 20-year move into less than 3 years.
Yeah. So
it's going to transform everything. So now your continual learning is a life skill. It's no longer a nice to do. It's a got to do.
Erik, my wife and I, we have a publishing company, right? And right. I wrote my first book. Now I didn't have AI write it. I wrote it. But I put it in.
Right. I know. Tell me about it.
You know how much money editing costs?
Yes, I do.
We've helped publish so many books. And I'm like, I looked at her, I said, do we no longer need an editor? I still sent it to an editor, but it's like, and then the editor was like, I there's nothing I can do here. But, we talked about millions of jobs that could disappear in the next decade.
Sure.
If you had your crystal ball in front of you, and you wanted to tell people what industries or roles are most vulnerable and which ones will evolve instead of vanishing?
Yeah. So the most vulnerable are going to be tasks that are repetitive that require very, very little training for a person. So if I can learn how to do a job in a few hours or a day, but I'm happy doing that, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just at some point AI may take that job entirely. So that job's gone. So the expectation is that 10% of the workforce will just plain out disappear. Okay.
Wow.
Then about 40% will be severely impacted in, probably a positive way. Because I'll look at when I started as a financial advisor, like a eon ago, a person with a business may have $20-30 million they're helping to manage for other people. Now it could be 10 times that, and it just changes your ability to do more on less.
Wow, we talked about the losing of the jobs. How are these people becoming AI millionaires? What is it that separates them? Is it their mindset? Is it timing, or is it just something deeper? How are these people becoming millionaires by using AI?
If I wanted to launch a campaign for marketing, and I have people in the room of three generations, right? Myself, a generation younger than me, and a generation older than me. The generation older than me is thinking, I've got to hire a marketing company. I've got to hire an ad designer. I need to have a logo designer. I need to have a SEO person. I need to have a website designer. All that can be done using 4 or 5 AI packages in one day. And that's if you're learning. So people who are really good at it can do it in a matter of an hour.
Wow.
So you can accomplish so much more. I could launch a product, I could develop a product, I could write, I come up with business plans. I come up with goal setting techniques. And then you still have to do work. So it doesn't get rid of that, but it makes you so much more efficient.
I'm also, I guess I can kind of let the cat out the bag. I'm also developing a bourbon right now. And I've had AI, I developed it. How important is the prompts and the prompts you put in? And where can somebody go to learn how to give AI the proper prompts? Or can you tell AI?
You can even ask AI, what are good prompts to use if I'm designing a bourbon to hit a certain market? Yeah. You can even do that. Are there other things? There are courses on it. There are free courses on it. So the prompts are critical. For example, if I ask my child, where were you last night? Okay, that's a prompt. Okay. If I say, did you drive the car last night? That's a different prompt.
Yeah.
Did you drive the car at home late? So it's just what prompts are you using? And all prompts are questions, and it's a dialogue. So as you ask, it has a retention, and it goes from where it left off. So it's a super powerful tool.
Wow. And who's eating your pride? You talk about financial complacency. Are Americans becoming complacent about these technological disruptions themselves?
Oh, absolutely, and it's a reluctance. So I haven't seen it quite like this. So I have a person who works with me, and they still have a flip phone because they just refuse technology. That's just that particular person. Does a great job, but refuses technology. Today, that person still creates value, is great, and he's had that view for 30, 40 years. That view, I think, going forward will be harder to create value.
Do you think
you've got to adapt? You have to lean in.
Do you think AI could create a completely new algorithmic class, like those who don't just use the machines, but those who own and train them?
Oh, absolutely. Some big jobs are coming our way. We're going to have so much more efficiency gain, and we're going to have so much AI prosperity. But if people will begin to adapt to continuous learning, use AI as a tutor, and they can upskill their employees, they can upskill themselves, and you don't have to be replaced. You can just be upskilled and actually earn more money.
Wow. One of the things that you talk about in your book and that you warn against is fear. How is the fear of irrelevance shaping financial behavior today?
Oh, fear of irrelevance has been shaping mankind forever. So the fear of not being needed is a horrifying, bone-chilling fear. So the best way that I've found to deal with fear is take action. Because if you sat there and worry about, hey, AI is going to get me, it's just paralyzing. But if you say, I want to learn how to use this, and start with a simple program like Grok or ChatGPT, and play with it. I'll give you an example. I went to a tax lien auction yesterday where people don't pay their taxes. Investors buy the liens, and there were over 1,000 of them. And I said, well, I don't want to evaluate them all, but what is each lien worth? What's the property worth? I put it into ChatGPT. It linked with public available records and put a market value on over 1,000 properties in less than a minute, and then put it into a spreadsheet and exported it. Wow. So then I was able to go to this and have data. Then you can pull comps. It's the data that you can crunch in a matter of a minute is remarkable.
It sounds like we're on the brink of we're on the brink of the greatest wealth transfer in history. And my question to you is, who will be holding the pie when it's over?
Those who are people who innovate, just don't live in fear, and fear is just so immobilizing. So just live in action, and live and say, I want to learn. I tell people, just try to get 1% better today. Just say, hey, I'm afraid of ChatGPT. Hey, today turn your computer on and stop. The next day, open Google, stop. Next day, put in ChatGPT, stop. Next day, press enter. The next day, open the program. And next day, say, enter your first prompt.
Yeah.
And that's it. You can say, describe my hometown, and just describe, Knoxville, wherever you happen to be, and then boom, you'll be surprised what it'll do.
Well, that's
true. Say, well, what jobs are open in Knoxville? You just get prompts, and there's no cost. So spend a half hour learning it each day, it'll be a very powerful tool.
Yeah, but Eric, what do you say to that person who says, "Man, I'm afraid that if I do something and people say, well, you used a cheat tool like chat or AI to create this idea, and it's not your idea because it's chats, but it's like if you put the idea in and then you train AI as you're going through this prompt, that's your idea, correct?"
It is your idea. So what I would say is, if you're doing a college paper and they have rules
Yeah.
of like, hey, do your own research, that's different. If it's like, hey, but I use it for a first draft oftentimes. And this is up from zero. So this is, and now I use it as a first draft. How do I respond to this email? How do I consolidate? And you still have to read it, and it still needs to be you, and you're still responsible for whatever it says. So it's important to read it. But just the efficiency is remarkable. I tell people, if somebody gives you a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house and you want to remodel it, it's easier because you have confines of where the water is, where the power is. It's easier. If someone gives you land to, say, design a house, it's a lot more effort.
Wow.
And what ChatGPT does, it just gives you a house to look at and remodel. You don't have to create from start.
Well, that's the name of my next book I've actually written called The Build.
Oh, wow.
Building a foundation that it's been I've been writing it for like 7 months, and I put it in chat, and chat just made it so much more beautiful. I am not gonna lie. As it relates to faith, here's a question: Does AI challenge the idea of divine purpose and work, or does it actually reinforce humanity's creative mandate?
I think it reinforces. It's a tool that just helps you have more access. And also, it's like everything else. I was a martial artist for 40 years, and when I got my black belt, I thought I knew something, and then I really realized is I knew all that I didn't know. And then I think ChatGPT is kind of the same thing. You're like, oh man, this little thing on my desk is wicked smart.
Yeah.
It has so much, and it still is in its infancy. So we compare ourselves to God. I mean, it's a reminder to me of how much help we need in everything in life.
Yeah.
So for me, it's helpful. It helps my creativity. It makes me more effective. And if I can, and to me, that's a very, very, very powerful and very important in life.
And you also teach a lot about legacy. As it relates to legacy, how should parents, how should they be preparing their children, not just for jobs, but for their calling in a world where I think AI will do most of the work? How can parents prepare their kids for this?
It's really just looking at their aptitude. If they're creative or they're artistic or they're math oriented or engineering oriented or service oriented or they like working with their hands. And then just think about, hey, in that space with the resources that I have, which may be ample or they may be limited, what can I do today? And I think the best thing to do is ask somebody who's doing something you want to do, hey, have you thought about AI? And I bet you 80% of the time it's going to be no or very little, right?
Yeah.
You wait 5 years, it's going to be yes. I mean, everyone's going to have thought about it. But find an innovative leader and learn what they're doing and try to implement it in your own life.
You know what? I mean, I am so glad that I stumbled across you because the potential of knowing that there's many people out there sitting right now with an idea that if they entered into chat or Grok or what is the one with Google? Google has one too. I forget the name one with Google, but the MSN now has one. Microsoft has one now.
Yeah.
And if they just put that idea in, they could literally change their lives overnight, right, Eric?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's fantastic. I mean, I went in and said, hey, I want to open there was a hurricane, right? In September of last year, it went through North Carolina. And hey, I want to send supplies. What would be things that people would need after a hurricane? Okay, I want to be of help. What could I do? It's immediate, right? You're like, man, that's fantastic. Who should I call to be of help? Here's the numbers, of the local area. So it's amazing. It's like Google on steroids. It's fantastic.
Now, with the booming of AI, where will the boom of human creativity in controlling or AI happen? Where will the boom for as far as I get the AI is going to explode and people will become millionaires. Mm-hmm. Where should people who are looking into their next career, how should they look towards AI to create their own careers?
Well, it varies for everybody, but I would say if I was trade oriented, meaning I work with my hands and I understand how things work, I would think about being an electrician, because there's going to be a whole lot of need for electricity and electricians, for the foreseeable future. If I like to write and like to write copy, I'm going to think about how can I learn to teach this thing to write in my voice, and learn and teach it to write more like you and correct it. If I'm a web designer, I'm going to say, hey, how can I use this to design a web page? Yeah. And whatever we're dealing with today, as sophisticated as it seems to us, literally in a year is going to be old news. That's what's so incredible is how fast it's changing. And it's hard to really explain that to somebody, but we're going from like the Model T to the Cybertruck in 3 years in this scenario.
Wow, I love it. Here's a question for you, and this is the last question because, I could sit here and talk to you all day, and I may even call you offline because I would love to pick your brain about a few things, and I'm definitely going to go get your book, Who's Eating Your Pie. But if you could hand every listener a single page from Who's Eating Your Pie, which one and why?
It'll be the first chapter called Permission to Dream. And that's because most of us stop dreaming when we start meeting resistance and we start meeting our own or our families' limiting ideas about ourselves. And I like to stop that and say, let me disengage with that. What would I seek to accomplish if I had no limits? And I start from the sky and work my way down instead of start from the ground and work my way up, because I've taught myself not to think big by starting at the ground. But if I start in the sky and work my way down, I can determine what I'm missing and fill the gaps much easier than I can to think of what those gaps are when I look from the ground up.
Wow. I remember Steve Harvey, he was talking about how fear had just engulfed him. And he said he was talking to a friend and his friend just told him leap. So your message for the people today is what? Leap?
Leap, yeah. And leap can be 1%. People are hearing that leap, they're like, man, I'm on the Grand Canyon ready to jump. You literally, it could just be leap off the doormat onto the ground. That had to be that big of a deal. It's just 1%, but 1% over change for 72 days compounds to 100% change. Over 1 year, it's 1,600% change. So just make small changes each day. Try a little more each day. Don't need to go crazy. And watch how your life changes.
Erik, where can people follow you? Where can they get your book, Who's Eating Your Pie?
So they can find me on Instagram at Erik Weir, ErikWeir, and they can find my book on Amazon called Who's Eating Your Pie, or search by my name.
Erik Weir, man, thank you so much for coming here, not only to inform us, educate us, but to inspire us. And if you're listening, I really do hope you go out and get Who's Eating Your Pie to get that inspiration to become one of those millionaires that Erik discussed on this show today. Thank you so much, Erik Weir, for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Detroit's Morning Answer. We'll be right back.